Hey friends, welcome to Everyday Family Adventure. I'm Trent.
And I'm Siobhan.
And we are driving through DC today. We've been in DC all week and kind of wanted to bring you guys the vlog this week from our point of view, our perspective. And we are here at this thing called Awaken the Dawn this weekend. And we're not necessarily here today as much as we wanted to just be praying along with everyone who's down here. I want to take a moment before we share all these stories with you to say that what you're about to watch today is our dreams, our story, our coincidences, and these are very spiritual. And so if you've been watching our channel regularly, you know that we're Christians, you know that we're passionate about our faith, and this is who we are. But I just want to tell you now that if you don't like watching that stuff about us, you can turn us off now, because we're about to talk a lot about God.
We're about to get real spiritual. If you don't like hearing about how God is actively in our lives, creating our situations, then you might want to turn this off.
Yeah, we're just going to say this vlog isn't for you today, and that's okay. Like, we love our journeys, we love the travels and the adventures and talking about RVs and stuff. But this is our journey, and the reason why we do a vlog like this today is very much to inspire people. The other part of it is very much our journey and our documentation of our faith, because we firmly believe that we will recount this moment and these dreams when we actually come and see these things. The Bible says this, it says your young men will dream dreams and your old men will see visions. I really believe that it's God speaking over his people a lifetime story of those in righteousness. He's not saying, like, you know, you're gonna get saved and you're gonna go to church and you're gonna live a great life and praise God. That will be your life. That's the end of it. Once you get saved, you're good. You're gonna live another, 50 years or so, and then, you die and go to heaven. That's the extent of your faith. We don't believe that. We believe that God is involved deeply into the minute little details of your life. And in this season for us, like you guys heard, we had a rough week last week, all that kind of stuff, but in this season is a time, like, I want to take the moment to encourage you. If you're going through a season, maybe that season is for you to press into God and tune your ears into things that aren't coincidence, things that could be God speaking to you in ways that you never thought you could imagine. So again, if this vlog isn't for you, that's fine. What I just said to you might be enough for you today. Coincidence, or the appearance thereof of coincidence.
We believe that, God leads us into divine moments, like, that are important if we'll stop to listen and stop to pay attention. We just happen to coincidentally be in DC this weekend.
What you guys may not know is that I lived here for 6 years. Siobhan and I, started dating when we were out here, and Camden was born out here, and we got married in this part of the nation. And that all kind of started with years ago, 20 years ago actually, to be exact. Men all across the United States and North America gathered on the mall, Million Man weekend, with Promise Keepers. And my dad, I was in college at the time, and my dad said, let's go. So I jumped in the car with him and we came down, and we were part of that event. And on the way back back to Michigan from that event that weekend, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I feel a strange calling out this way. And that's about it. Didn't say much more beyond that, but just that. And so that very much began a stirring in my heart. I went off to Bible school, and then kind of forgot about telling my dad that, but when Siobhan and I were getting married, my dad reminded me, remember what you told me in the car on the way back from DC that weekend? Well, again, strangely enough, coincidence? I don't know. But I happen to be here. This is the 20th anniversary of that event. And so that's really interesting. And for us, for Siobhan and I, this week we've been pressing in a lot and asking God to reveal more wisdom and just insight into why these coincidences are happening. When I moved out here back in 2001, helped start a church, and I had a small band, and there was a gentleman there from Ireland that came and played bass on my worship team, and after about, a year or so, he moved back to Ireland. His name's Gary. Anyways, so Gary and I went our separate ways, a long time ago, and here's the funny thing, John Falk, my friend whose house we're staying at while we're here in DC, and we always stay there. He lives a good, 35, 40 minutes away from the church that I used to minister at. So all of a sudden last week I was doing school with Camden and Bennett outside our rig, and the place where John lives in Fairfax County is kind of out, from population. It's not like a popular place. He lives on a private drive where there's only about 5 houses, kind of set back in the woods. You can't really see our RV or anything. Anyways, I'm doing school with Bennett and Camden, and I go to throw the trash out, and I hear, Trent? And I'm like, what? I turn around, and it's Gary, my friend from a long time ago who used to play bass with me at the church. Turns out that he had come back to the States and was leading worship at a church, and it didn't go too well, and they have been in DC in a season of time and kind of came to a church up here, and they're living with just as an in-between time, a transitional time, they're living with a family that just happens to be John and Julie's next door neighbors. And I'm like, what? It's like a 1 in 3 million chance that happened. Like, coincidence? I think not. Like, God's doing something there. Siobhan and I have been praying a lot about international travel with the family, and just saying, okay, God, where are you leading us? What are you saying to us? And for us, we can't believe that these are just coincidences. We're trying to press into them a little bit more. And then we have a third coincidence. Watch, I'll let Siobhan tell you a little bit more about that.
God to be coincidence, because it's something that keeps coming at us over and over again, and it's leading us to begin to say, okay, God, what does this mean for us? Several months ago we were given the book called Is That Really You, God? By Lauren Cunningham. Didn't know who Lauren Cunningham was, except that somebody told us that he was the founder of YWAM. So we had read the book, and near the end of the book, it begins talking about a campus in Hawaii. I think it's called University of the Nations.
Yeah. In
Kona, Hawaii. And I just remember as we were reading the book, just feeling such a connection, a drawing to that whole story. There was lots of stories in the book about lots of different places, but for some reason, I just was really intrigued. I'm like, University of Nations, what is it about? This is specifically YWAM's school that is geared towards the arts and film and music and all of that stuff that we love so passionately. I had looked up some of the prices that it costs to go to DTS, which is their discipleship training school out there. Aside from how much it would cost for our family to even fly there, it was still super, super expensive per person, and so I kind of just brushed it aside, that's probably not for us, because it would be too much money. Because here I am, like, oh ye of little faith. You know, I say things like that and think things like that because I truly, like, in my heart, I'm still growing in my faith in my Father and in His provision and in His love and His direction. You know, because if God calls you somewhere, leads you somewhere, then wouldn't He provide the way for you to get there? And then several weeks later, I was just perusing my Instagram account, and I saw a picture that I liked that was beautiful and had some children in it, and I think they were on a beach or something, and I was like, oh, that's pretty, and I clicked on it, and it was a family that they were saying that they were flying to Hawaii, and that God was leading them to Hawaii, and they didn't know why. And so immediately I was super intrigued. I was like, what? So I just began to follow their pictures every day. I even had reached out to them and said, are you going to the YWAM in Hawaii? And they're like, we're actually there, but we don't even know anything about YWAM. God just told us to go to Hawaii, and so we came, and here we are on the YWAM base in Hawaii. And so long story short with that, they ended up just maybe a week later making the decision to go to DTS in Hawaii, in Kona. You know, I just been slowly, like, beginning to talk to Trent about it, because it's kind of a wild thing. Hawaii has never been really on my bucket list. If it is, it's kind of near the bottom. It's not something that I've been like, oh, I've got to go to Hawaii. I've always wanted to go there. It's a beautiful place, but I've never until now felt really drawn there. Just, I sometimes have these crazy things that I bring to Trent, and I'm kind of like RVing things that I say that he's like, yeah, okay, no. But we're beginning to learn to consider crazy things. You know, sometimes God asks us to do things that are not necessarily something that we would normally do, but we're learning that the normal doesn't ever lead us to the supernatural and the spectacular in our lives. Like, if we want to see the hand of God moving and doing amazing things in our lives, sometimes we have to step out of the normal and trust God.
Yeah, and I just want to say too, like, what she's saying, spot on. I realized a long time ago, even when I was in high school, that my life was not going to be normal. And I actually told her about this when we first got married. I'm like, I just want you to know, you're not marrying somebody who's normal. Like, we're not going to be doing normal things. Like, we were not meant to live in a box, and we were not meant to live for just simplicity alone, for normal's sake, to fit in. We've embraced and accepted the fact that we don't fit in, and the abnormal, or the things that most people would think are wild and crazy and out there, actually is our normal. And
we spent years having kids and staying close and safe inside our box, and we're just to the point where our faith has grown, and we're saying no more inside the box. We need to get outside the box in order to be in others' lives and doing the things that Jesus did. Jesus was very outside the box. You know, he walked around and went from place to place, just preaching love and the gospel, and he had nowhere to lay his head. He was homeless, just like us. He was a wanderer, and we just want to be willing to be used by God wherever we go. So anyways, I've been just sharing these things gently with Trent. It's fear, yeah, it's fear. Like, I hold back because it really is. There's fear that comes in.
Because you're like, I don't know where the money's going to come from.
Yeah.
We don't even know where our money's coming from normally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're already living a faith journey where, you know, the Lord provides for us daily the things we need right now. And to think of throwing on top of that plane tickets to Hawaii and or Ireland, you know, going and visiting Gary's home country. We still don't know why God connected us with Gary and his wife Lisa, except to really be an encouragement to them and let them be an encouragement to us, because they are on a similar faith journey. But with the Hawaii thing, it's really interesting because the more that I'm out there and I start sharing with people, like the just strange coincidences, the more the coincidences keep coming. So like I was sharing with my friend Julie that we're staying at their house in our RV on their property right now, and I was just sharing with her some of the coincidence things, and she's like, oh well, John's aunt works at the YWAM base in Kona, Hawaii. I'm like, what the heck? Like, you know how many YWAM bases there are all over the world? I mean, there's hundreds of them all over the US, all over the world, and his aunt just happens to be part of the one in Kona, Hawaii. On top of that, I told Trent, I was like, you know, the crazy thing is we named our cat Kona 12 years ago. So we've had this little like Hawaiian cat named Kona. I didn't even think about that until I literally didn't even think about that until the other day. I was telling Trent, no, I wasn't. I had already told Trent about like just this feeling that I was getting about Hawaii. And then we were praying, and Trent was praying, God, tell us where we're supposed to go. And like at that moment, the cat came up and started rubbing all over him. And I looked at her and I was like, Kona, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, Kona. There it was again. There was like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, even my cat's name is Kona. And then after that, I just started getting bold and saying, okay, God, what does this mean? What does this Kona thing mean? Are we supposed to go there? Are we just supposed to make some connections there for some other reason, for some other place? And I had this memory, like all of a sudden God dropped into my mind a memory of another time that he had told me specifically about a place that I was going to go, and it was before I left for college. I was praying and I really felt the Lord say, you're going to Ireland. They have a traveling worship team through the school that I was going to. But as I sit in this orientation, they get talking about their travel schedule for this year, and they said this summer we will be going to Ireland. And my heart just totally like skipped a beat. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be on this team. I am going to audition and I'm gonna get on and I'm gonna go to Ireland. And lo and behold, I audition and I don't get on the team, and I was devastated. And I was like, God, I don't understand. I'm supposed to go to Ireland, and this team is going to Ireland, and I'm supposed to be on it. Well, I had kind of a hard first semester, college, you know, my first time away from my parents, and so it was just like, it was a faith building time for me, and I look back on it and it was hard at the time, but I'm so thankful for everything that I learned and what God did in my life. But I eventually came back the next semester. I auditioned for the group again in January, and I was accepted right away into the group, and so I was going to Ireland, and I did. Trent and I went to Ireland together in the summer of 2000. Yeah, we started in 99. It was the summer of 2000. We went to Ireland, and it was such a special time, and I've always felt like I was going to go back. And I still don't know when that's going to be, but I really do feel like I'm going to go back to Ireland. So I was telling Trent, I was like, this was one of those moments in my life where God was clearly speaking to me about a specific place ahead of time. When I heard it reconfirmed, I knew in that moment that it was for me, and yet I still had to wait on the completion of that particular guidance that God was giving me. It was in His timing and not mine. And so I'm recounting this to Trent. I don't think I had ever even told you about that, right? About the Ireland thing. So I hadn't even ever told him. So as I'm telling Trent about this, God suddenly reminded me, like right there in that moment, as I was telling him about how He led me to believe that I was going to Ireland with the group. God dropped in my spirit another memory that I have from college, a vision that he had given me that has not been fulfilled. And I've always wondered about it over the years, here and there. Before I graduated college, I had a vision one day in my prayer time of me leading worship in the midst of a circle. And there was people all around the circle. And that's all I remember, is leading worship in a circle with people all around. And over the years, I've always wondered, like, God, why did you give me that vision? Like, what does that mean? And so as that dropped into my spirit, I thought, I'm just gonna look. I'm just gonna go onto Google. I'm gonna put in YWAM Kona, Hawaii, and I'm gonna click images. And I'm gonna see if something comes up. So here's a crazy thing. I did that right there. Trent was right there. And I clicked on Google, put in Kona, Hawaii, YWAM, and clicked on images. And do it yourself right now. The first thing that pops up in the whole images page, like 80 to 90% of the images you see of Kona, Hawaii, YWAM are a circle with flags from all nations all around the circle and people standing around this circle. It's like a fountain or something, I think. But at that moment I was like, my heart like did that skip a beat, like almost like I'm supposed to go there. I don't know. Like we're still in this place, like I don't know.
So that's the majority of our story today. We believe that God is actively working and doing things in our lives. We aim to document our journey, our story of faith, and very much our travels. But this was a different vlog today, because we're in a season right now where we're pressing into God to saying, okay, Lord, what do you want to do with us? Like how do you want us to walk forward? And this is how we live, and we're grateful for that, and we wouldn't change it for the world. So anyways, again, thank you guys for being a part of our life, being part of our journeys, for watching our show every week. We are having such a great time, such a God life, and man, we're living the life of our dreams right now, and we've heard it said recently, like, if you're not living the life of your dreams, you need to press into that. You need to do that, and you'll find that life is real good. And we're gonna let you guys go today, so remember, we can make the world better.
I believe we can.